welcome everyone, Stormy Sensei here. Today we'll be having some content on the channel. We're going to be making some tier lists. I don't know how many we're going to make yet, but we're going to have some fun with it. I'll get some music going. It's a little loud for me. There we go. Making sure that the bot is up and running. I haven't seen the bot yet. There it goes. Alright. Everything is good and working. Alright, now I actually have no way of actually watching chat here, unless I pull this open on my phone at the same time, so let's go ahead and do that. There we go. Bot is here. Hey, there's Sonic Pikachu. Hey, there's Swordmaster. Alright, now I got everything I need. Oh wait, actually, I could look at the chat using this. Kinda. I guess there's no way to force this to stay on top, huh? Unless there is a way to make it stay on top. Nope. No way to force this to stay on top. That's okay. I'm sure that there actually is a way for me to do it, but I just need to actually look into it. So on my side, I have like this Streamlabs chatbot thing that actually shows me where the messages are. I can't show them on my screen or I can't read chat using my screen normally, because then you would see YouTube instead of seeing the tier list. So that's no good. I'm gonna skip this song just because it has lyrics, and that'll be confusing to hear me talk over the lyrics here. But I do like this song, which is why it's on the playlist. Ready for this tier list? Alright, let's just go with the standard tier list first. We don't have to rush and make a whole bunch of these really quickly. Let's see here. So the first thing I always do when I'm going to make a tier list is, talk about what's important to me, because I think that that's kind of why tier lists are interesting. Because like if you say something like, oh, well, I could just make a which characters beat me kind of tier list, right? And then that would be very different from like if I were a better player, who would actually be good characters, which would be different from if I were a worse player, who would be the best characters. You get this a lot when you see people talk about or complain about Little Mac, right? Like, Little Mac is so broken. He's got, these smash attacks and they got super armor, and he has no end lag on any of his attacks and things like that. So, to them, they're bad at whiff punishing, or maybe they see that they're charging a smash attack, and instead of getting out of range and getting ready to whiff punish, they try to dash attack or grab or something like that, and then they get killed. And so that's kind of where they're at, and therefore they think that a character like Little Mac could actually be strong. So let's talk about, I guess, generally the characters here. We're going to have to make a couple of extra lists here. So like the main styles of gameplay that you're gonna have to deal with are gonna be like your rush down characters, and then you're gonna have to deal with your campers, and then you're gonna deal with your mid-range. I'll just call them sorties. you know, your characters that have like disjointed hitboxes and they're like, you know, pretty good at that mid-range in between the rushdown and the campers. And so you want a character that's like especially good against rushdown and campers. And then like you might also want to be, because there's so many sorties, there's so many mid-range characters in this game that you kind of want to also be okay at those. If you're good at like, if you're really good at one, so I think that a lot of people, they think about the rushdown style of gameplay. You end up having a lot of people who in a arena setting or in a Elite Smash setting, they're thinking about two fighters and they're running at each other with no regard for like, you know, any sort of feinting, no fake outs, just they're just rushing at each other and they're gonna both throw out their smash attacks. They're both gonna throw out their tilts. And whoever has the most frame data up close, they're going to win, which is why they're gonna think that, you know, certain characters are really good, like, you know, Kirby or like Little Mac or, you know, Ness or things like that. But, you know, if your character isn't good against camping, then I'm going to think that you're going to be a pretty bad character overall. So those are going to be the three things that I'm mostly going to be thinking about, how well they deal with these three types of archetypes. Because the... you want to have like a well-rounded character. You don't want to have a character that's like fine, but then you get like counterpicked and then you just lose hard. So that's the goal there. So starting with that, those are the things to keep in mind. I'm going to make 2 more tiers here, even though they aren't actually going to be tiers. None of these at the bottom are going to be tiers. These are just kind of like helper tiers. Now that there are 80 characters, we can just like start with this. Actually, I want to call it unordered. Because what happened last time I made a tier list on this channel, this has lyrics too, but it's Ashley's song, so I'm just gonna let it keep going. Like, it's fine. You're gonna have to deal with that. So the last time I did a tier list here, people would come up in the middle of the tier list and they would be like, hey, I see that you have this character in this position and I think that's wrong. And my answer to them would be, I actually haven't, you know, tiered that character yet. You're looking at where they are just generally right now. I just start with fighter numbers. We're not starting with fighter numbers. We're going to start with, well, I mean, I guess we can kind of do fighter orders, I guess. But like, I'm going to start off with here. I actually don't really know where Banjo would be. Bottom 40 versus top 40. I'm going to put him top 40 for now. I don't have much faith in Bayo. I have a little bit of faith in Bowser. We're just going to quickly do this, and then we'll just kind of see where it goes. We should have an equal number of characters in each by the time we're done. So I'm just going, I'm not even really thinking about it yet. Like, these might not even be correct by the time I'm done. So, like, don't get too worried about these yet. Oh, there's so many characters. So many characters. There are a lot of these characters that are, like, kind of close. Oh no, Peach and Daisy are here. Let's get rid of that. Oh, this is another close one. Another close one. I should probably put a tier for, like, I have no idea because this character hasn't been out long enough yet. There are way too many top 40 characters. We're probably over 40 in the top 40 list. I have way more good characters than bad characters here. Oh, there are way too many. I can already tell. This is bad. This is not even close. Alright, I'm gonna have to readjust this, like, really heavily. Alright, so that's like all the characters, right? But there's an entire extra row of top 40 compared to bottom 40. Let's see. So we're in this list up here, and then let's just kind of weed out some of the weaker characters from up here. These probably don't need to be up here. Alright, is it almost even yet? Almost even. We still need a couple more characters to be removed from up here. I guess I'll have to take down some of these, maybe? Maybe this one here? There are a couple of other close ones, right? Probably this one down here. Okay, I think that we're actually even now. Yeah, because if you put Daisy here, then there's now 40 in each. Okay, so who actually are the echoes? Let's go ahead and add the echoes back in. So Dark Samus is actually a separate character. And Simon is an actual other character. Alright, I think that we're good. We don't really need to rank Dark Samus separately from Samus, or Richter separate from Simon. Oh, that was actually harder than I thought already. Like, as you could see, just from my, like, knee-jerk reaction, we had a lot of good characters in there. B tier for big hitbox. The characters in alphabetical order? Yeah, they are. Alright, so how do we want to go on this? So I think that the last time I did this, I was basing it based off of, tournament results, like being able to win a super major, which is standardly what a tier list is made for. But maybe we shouldn't do that this time. I think that if we do that every time, it's going to kind of get, boring. What do you think we should do as a benchmark here? Like, what does a better character mean in this tier list here? Because when it comes to tournaments, you need to think about, like, getting counterpicked mid-set and winning best of 3s versus best of 5s and having answers for a wide variety of characters. But good matchups, you think? That's a good suggestion. Because then, like, you're just thinking about each character without getting counterpicked. Like, a good example would be, like, Ness in Smash 4. Ness was a pretty good overall character in Smash 4, but every single good player basically could just, like, pick up Villager or Rosalina, and that'd be, like, an impossible wall for Ness to deal with. Because they didn't have, like, directional air dodges at the time. So, like, it was impossible for him to be a top tier character, even though he was, like, really good. But if you take away counter picks, then maybe Ness would have been a better Smash 4 character, you know? Hey there, Crispy is Weird. Welcome back to the channel. I assume that you used to have an old name, because I don't remember Crispy is Weird as a person, but welcome back all the same. Let's think here. So yeah, I think that if we do just matchup spread and not worrying about like counter picks and like things like that, that should be good. So if that's the case, then I think I already know what I want to put at the top of the list. I'm gonna definitely put Palu up here, and I'm gonna put Pikachu up here as well. And I want to also put Wolf up here. I don't know, not necessarily in that order. But the reason why I do that is because, you know, Palutena and Pikachu tend to be a lot of characters' worst matchups, and Wolf tends to have really good matchups against everyone. Wow, you put Toon Link in bottom 40 but not DDD. I think I had Toon Link in top 40 and I had to move him down because I ended up putting like 60 characters in top 40, and then I was like, oh, whoops, this isn't how this is supposed to work. And then I guess that actually might make Ice Climbers not actually be a top 40 character anymore, because, you know, when you think about Ice Climbers, you think about, you know, crazy grab combos and, like, you know, good things like that. But Ice Climbers lose a lot to a lot of mostly projectiles and even sorties for the most part as well. So I'm not even sure that they would end up being up here anymore, but we'll see. We'll think about that later on when we get there. That's a pretty good top list, I'd say. And you'll notice that already Pikachu is not the best character in this game anymore when we change it to just be overall matchup spread compared to like actually being a consistent tournament winner. Yeah, killing Nana makes Popo look like Little Mac, pretty much. Yep, it's very easy for the bottom tier as well. It's going to be Little Mac for sure. It's going to be down here. This thing does not auto-scroll, so I have to, like, do weird things there. Oh, I should have named the tiers as well. So what we're going to do here, my tiers are always going to be top 5. Bottom 5 is the other tier. They're arbitrary numbers, but, you know, I can't put Mac in their own bottom tier. And then low tier, I don't need to put tier, it's a tier list, obviously it's a tier. So top, bottom, high, mid, and there needs to be something else somewhere in here, right? I think I usually have top 5 and then top tier separately from top 5. And then high is up here. I don't like too many tiers in here, but there are 80 characters though, so you know what you're gonna end up seeing probably is a lot of characters are gonna just look like they're high tier, because that's just Smash Ultimate. There are just so many characters and they're all kind of good. And when it comes to losing lots of matchups, I mean, Incineroar definitely comes to mind, right? And then also I think Ganondorf would fall into that, and then Dr. Mario, and DK and Kirby as well. But there are more than 5 characters here, so we need to figure out which one of these doesn't belong. So we're thinking about dealing with camping. You know, Dr. Mario has cape, but it still has low run speed, low run speed, low run speed, high run speed, high run speed. Dealing with rushdown. All these characters are actually kind of good at rushdown. Donkey Kong has armor. Ganondorf has Nair. Kirby has like fast moves like down tilt, forward tilt. Doc has up B at a shield, I guess. Incineroar has Nair. His neutral B is invincible on the arms, I guess. Swordies. All these characters are kind of really bad against Swordies, especially Kirby and Doc. And also, but Donkey Kong has like forward tilt and back air and things like that. Hey there, Dragon King. There aren't going to be any arena battles today. I think that DK probably is the thing that doesn't belong in here. It's between DK and Ganondorf, but I think that DK actually just barely gets out of the bottom 5 list. And to order this, I would probably have it as Mac, Ganon, Doc, then Kirby and Incineroar. Which one would go first there? Incineroar is pretty bad, but he also has like good kill potential, right? So I think that's going to be the bottom 6 so far. And then you gotta find like the next character down. It's gotta be like Puff or Corrin or Lucario or K. Rool or Robin. It could be Robin too. And why is that? So Lucario, if you're winning with Lucario, then you are a weaker character and you don't have very much range. And, you know, if you are at like, you know, 0% 1 stock left and your opponent is at like 0% 2 stocks left, then there's actually not much that you can do to stop them from running away from you. You don't really have the aura at that difference to like get a jank kill. When it comes to rushdown, if you're thinking about like, well, let's just talk about a couple of like rushdown characters, I guess. So if you're thinking about your rushdown characters, and how well you'll deal with that type of playstyle, who else is in here? I mean, technically, actually, Jigglypuff kind of makes a case for being a rushdown. Alright, so if you're dealing with these characters, like, K. Rool definitely loses to rushdown, and Robin definitely loses to rushdown. Because, like, Arc Fire is kind of his, like, best move, but you can just kind of roll through it, or, like, air dodge through it, or do anything, and he's just kind of stuck there, like, waving his hands in the air, and then you kind of punish him for that. Robin also has to deal with resource management, like if he uses too many of his aerials and they miss, and then eventually his Levin Sword becomes Bronze Sword, and he's a lot weaker. He has got a pretty decent recovery. Most of these characters do, except for Corrin. You know, a lot of these characters don't really have very much to do if the opponent is, like, smacking their shield. Like, what if Fox comes up and uses, like, Nair and then up tilt? Or, like, Nair jab, or, like, Nair down tilt, or Nair run back out of neutral? Or reset to neutral? Then, like, none of these characters really have anything to do about that. And the only character that's, like, has anything to do with camping, I guess, would be, like, K. Rool, maybe? Because he's got Crown, and that goes through most projectiles. But even then, he doesn't have much to do against someone that's running away. You know, he has something to do against people that are throwing projectiles at him, but someone that's just, like, staying far away and, like, chipping damage with them, not much to do there. Roy is definitely a rushdown, yeah. It's actually funny, because I have, like, the Swordies category, but like a lot of sword fighters aren't actually swordies in that way, because Roy has this effective range that's at the hilt of his sword. Mega Man isn't normally that campy when you play him the way you're supposed to. He's actually more like a sword fighter, because his pellets actually only go. His pellets are actually his one of his strongest tools, and they only go so far. And his forward air is also like really fast and very strong. It also has an interesting range. it's very easy for someone to try to play Mega Man like a camper, but like that's actually not his best playstyle even. Because you think about like Leaf Shield, which is also really amazing, and like all the Metal Blade setups and things like that, he mostly is playing at that mid-range where he's like not too far, not too close. Like the campers would be someone like, you know, Plant with Patui, mining and minecart, somewhere in between actually. Villager is actually kind of more of a sortie with the slingshot range. This is called sorties, but it's really more like mid-range. Like, even though Young Link has a sword, he's better off like pulling bombs and throwing arrows, and then once you've gotten caught with the projectiles, that's when he goes in for the up air and the up Bs and things like that. And also, that doesn't mean that like that's the only thing that the character can do. Like, Young Link is good at range, and he's really good at camping because he's so fast on the ground and in the air. And his arrows, fire arrows, are so good. But like, if you were to avoid all the fire arrows and get up close to him, he still has nair, he still has back air. He's like actually also really good at basically every range. So you could kind of put Young Link really anywhere on here. Like, you could even play a rushdown Young Link if you wanted to. Online's back on? Nice. Alright, let's put these characters back where they belonged. These characters are probably around here, something like that. Mario's up there probably, something like that. I probably didn't even put all these characters back where they originally were. Like I said, these were very quick things to do back then. Alright, so it's definitely between these. So we're just going to put these up here in the bottom tier. I think that's a pretty easy assessment there. And then we just need to order them in some way. The thing about Corrin is like, Corrin's a much worse version of herself or himself from Smash 4. The range is a lot worse, pin is a lot weaker. The up B has the crazy drift, so it doesn't have as good a recovery. You know, the combo game really isn't there. It's like, in some ways, like, I haven't seen enough good Corrins to really make a determination on how good Corrin play is supposed to be. But from what I've seen from, you know, players that do play Corrin is, you know, I'm not that impressed with it. I might even put DK above Lucario and Corrin in this case. I'm going to put the rest of these characters in this order. Robin goes right below Puff. Alright, let's keep on going. Pit's gotta be down here, right? And then this is gonna be probably the next batch of characters over here. Gunner's actually kind of good. Why are they so far down? Brawler's gotta be down here as well. Is Falco even this low? I don't even know. I actually think the Dark Pit is better than regular Pit, but like not by much. I think that the arrows, like the arrows are supposed to be the thing that make him like different, right? You're supposed to be able to control the arrows, and that's supposed to be a good thing, right? But if you just like nair, then you kind of destroy the arrow as they stand, and that's kind of like not a very good thing. So like the one strength that they were supposed to have over someone like Dark Pit makes it, you know, kind of negated with good gameplay. And do remember that we're supposed to be thinking about this in terms of how they deal with the 3 core gameplay types. Pit deals pretty well, I think, with Rushdown. And probably also with campers as well. So maybe he actually isn't this low. What's another character that we could put down here instead? Maybe we're done with low tiers after this. Yeah, Sheik definitely belongs down here. Struggles with campers, struggles with sorties, does very well against rushdown, dies very early, you know, trades never benefit her. She's got some cool kill setups, but like, you know, she's got to get in, she's got to actually attack. Mewtwo deals fine with a lot of these, struggles really hard against rushdown, I'd say. Struggles hard against sorties. Struggles a little bit against campers as well, depending on, you know, what kind they are. There's some projectiles that Shadow Ball will counter, and others that they won't. Like PK Fire actually beats Shadow Ball. The Holy Cross beats Shadow Ball. Yeah, Ridley's Plasma Breath beats Shadow Ball. When it comes to combo game, you know, Sheik is really, really good. Brawler's really, really good. I don't think Dark Pit belongs down here. I think it's just these four, and then we're actually going to move out of bottom tier, unless like Chrom or Bowser Jr. belong in here. Or I'm thinking, not seeing anything really. Lost my chat for a moment. Don't you just hate it when people say Ness and Lucas are similar? Well, they're from the same game. They have big heads. They're both children. They have PK in their moveset names. That's about it, I guess. Like, PK Fire is the name of their side B, both of them, even though the two over them are different. Like, when Ness jumps and uses PK Fire, it goes diagonally down, whereas Lucas's go straight ahead. If Lucas hits someone with PK Fire, it just explodes and launches them, whereas Ness's PK Fire keeps them in place and creates a pillar of fire. You know, PK Thunder, even though it's named the same, like one can hit the opponent multiple times and the other one only hits once and launches straight up. So like, I mean, saying that they're not similar is also kind of wrong though, right? Like, you gotta at least agree to that, right? Alright, I think that I got these four coming up next. And I think that the order I'm going to put them in is going to be Mewtwo, followed by... Or just going to put all of them up here first, and then sort them. Mewtwo's probably at the bottom here. Nope, not at that bottom. Mewtwo, followed by Brawler, followed by Samus, followed by Sheik. I actually didn't say much about Samus. So Samus has like really, really good ledge trapping with bombs and up tilt and back air and things like that. The issues with Samus are that any character that has fast projectiles, like, Samus can't like really do anything against them. So like, every other character's projectiles come out more quickly, or at least if they're like actually a projectile character. Like, if I were playing Sheik, I could just like get at mid-range and then throw needles over and over again. Not charged needles, just like quick needles over and over. And Samus has to jump with bad airspeed or roll with one of the worst roll animations ever in order to deal with that. Same with Falco, same with Luigi and Mario's fireballs, same with Banjo's eggs, Same with even Pac-Man. I could just throw Strawberry over and over, and like Samus really can't do anything about that because my projectiles come out faster than her missiles, or she won't be able to like charge a charge shot. Same with Cloud's Blade Beam. So like when it comes to playing the projectile game, almost every character with a projectile beats them. When it comes to Swordies, he actually does pretty okay against Swordies. You know, back air is really good, forward air is really good, neutral air is like comes out fast. Bombs kind of like creates this like keep away from me zone, which is pretty good. But against Rushdown, you know, Samus, if Samus starts shielding, then that's really bad because her, like I said before, her roll is really, really terrible. Reactable, very slow to finish happening. And up B at a shield can be good, but if you miss it, then that's a free punish. And her grab is like really scary to use because it's a tether and it's really, really slow. So you get punished with a forward smash or something like that. So those are all the, she basically, you know, suffers against a lot of these characters, but not as much as some of the others. I think that we're done with low tier now. Are we able to zoom out here? There's so few of these that you get to see at once. There we go. That's a lot better. Hopefully that's still visible for everyone. Alright, so let's start going from the top down for a little bit now. Previously, you know, when I was talking about like playing in a tournament setting, like playing best of fives and like knowing your character's habits or knowing your opponent's habits, things like that, I put Peach pretty high up, and I put Ken pretty high up. But I don't think that they're going to get that high up when you're thinking about it in this way, when it's just like matchup spread and dealing with the three styles of character play. Like, who here is like really, really good at dealing with people that are camping? Like, I think Fox does really well here. Hero does really, really well here. But he loses really bad to Swordies and Rushdown. So, like, I don't want to, you know, put that in too quickly. We said we got, Game & Watch does really well here. Doesn't do much well against people that, oh wait, of course, Rob. Rob is like super, super good here. We might even like just put him at number 4 here. Pichu does okay. Sonic, I have a lot of faith in Sonic. I have some faith in Snake here. Joker does pretty well here as well. And Diddy Kong's up here. ZSS is like not so much. Falcon's definitely towards the bottom of the top 40, I'd say. Well, I don't want to say definitely yet, but Min Min's down towards the bottom as well. Alright, so let's talk about why some of these characters are good, so that you can kind of understand, you know, why characters that are bad are placed where they are. Rob has Gyro, and Gyro is broken. It's like an area denial tool, and I really like area denial tools, like Rob, Diddy Kong with Banana, Snake with C4 and grenades, and to a lesser extent, this is actually kind of why I play characters like DDD with Gordo and Zelda with Phantom Slash. They're just like weaker versions. Well, they're not weaker versions. They're stronger tools. They're not stronger tools. They are more. You get more reward for them in the specific scenarios in which they are useful. Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. Like Rob can kind of like grab Gyro. It's a ledge trap tool. You can throw it down and it'll send the enemy where you were facing at the time. So you can like kind of you're forcing your opponent entirely to think like, oh, where were they facing when they threw that down? You know, am I able to pick this up? Can I use it against Rob? Nair is really good against Rushdown. Like, if you think about Roy trying to come in with the forward air or a neutral air, Rob just does retreating neutral air and is super disjointed and explodes on Roy's face. And also, even if you get close to Rob, he's got like down tilt, forward tilt, burial for grabs or for down throw. Against camping, he's got gyro and laser beams. Against mid-range, he's got laser beams and gyro. For edge guarding, he's got roto arm. Like, lots of really good tools, generally speaking. I think gyro is a good deal better than banana peel. And probably also better than C4 in that case. I think I'm gonna have to put Rob up here. I can't think of many times where like Rob struggles when it comes to matchup spread, like being good against the most number of characters. Like obviously Rob is gonna do poorly against these really, really good characters. Rob, I think, probably loses to Joker, probably loses to Palu, probably loses to Wolf. But like, losing to the best characters in the game is like not that big of a deal. I guess I should talk about weaknesses, I guess. If I'm going to talk about like just these characters. Rob's neutral air is very like slow to start up. So if you know your opponent's habits, you can just kind of jump up there and hit him before he starts the neutral air. But you have to be careful because then he can just change it up and go for forward air instead, and then you're jumping into a forward air. So it's like the counterplay has counterplay to it, which is kind of what these other characters are lacking. Like, they have strong tools, but then there's counterplay, and then they don't really have counterplay to the counterplay. I don't know why my chat stopped working for a moment. The last thing I heard was one spams ice, one spams fire. Oh yeah, it's funny that Akirian actually got the answer right to the last thing. I'm glad Lucario is in bottom 5. Yeah, he is in bottom 5. Which side B are you talking about is that being invincible? Because Rob's side B is not invincible. It does reflect though. You can actually hit him out of the side B. I think that given the criteria that we've laid out for ourselves, it's pretty clear the Joker has to be the next character here. Because when it comes to dealing with camping, like he has Arsene, you don't really want to camp him. If you throw projectiles at him, he'll Rebel's Guard. If he has Arsene, he'll just reflect it back at you. When it comes to Rushdown, he's got Nair, he's got jab, forward tilt, down tilt, you know, grab, down air, down throw combos. Like, he's pretty good. Swordies, he does have some struggle there, I guess. But, like, you know, it's not as bad as any other character that's here, really. He's still got the speed, he still can, like, you know, whiff punish. He can still dash in, dash out. Down tilt underneath their sword swipes. And then he's got side B to grief the swordies. Let's go ahead and put that up there. So I think we're done with top 5 now. I think that all of these characters, except maybe not Banjo. Banjo's not up there. Could be contenders for top tier here. But there's also high tier, so like, you gotta be careful about that. I think that let's do about as many low tiers in top, or as many top tiers that we currently have in low tier. So when it comes to top tier, I really have a lot of faith in Fox. Fox is like the archetypical rushdown character. He does struggle kind of really hard against swordies because he's so light. If you think about Ike's up B out of shield having armor, so like if you go in for a nair on shield, you might actually do nair onto up B and then die. Yeah, actually Fox actually loses a lot to a lot of these swordies. It's actually a good reason why he's not top 5 even, because like, you know, he's got a linear recovery with side B and then up B. You can just kind of use your invincible up Bs, like Lucina does a really good job of edge guarding with up B, reversing it towards the ledge. Sephiroth also does like counter to kill Fox, as well as up B to 2-frame. And now he has to deal with Min Min as well, using Ram Ram. So he actually struggles too hard with swordies. I usually do put Fox really high up, but with the current tier list that we're dealing with, I can't really honestly put him up there if he struggles with 1/3 of the categories that we're putting this tier against. So let's move on. Diddy Kong. Diddy Kong, I also have a lot of faith in a standard tier list. Let's see how he does in this type of tier list that we're making right now. Diddy Kong is obviously going to do really well against Rushdown, Banana, and Shield. Campers, he actually doesn't do too well against Campers, I guess. Swordies, he does pretty well against Swordies. But then again, like I said, he loses in 1 in 3 of those. So let's keep on moving until we find someone that does pretty well in all 3 of them. Game & Watch probably is going to be the character that deals with this probably really well. Does fine against swordies because he has his own sword and back air. And he's like super strong against campers and really good against rushdown thanks to up B. Campers down B. Swordies mostly just got back air and neutral air. And depending on his spacing, like if he like dashes back and does down smash, a lot of these swordies when they use their forward tilts, they're going to actually get clipped into getting buried. So that's actually a really good character here. So let's like put Game & Watch in here up here temporarily just to hold our place there. But some other good ones. I have a lot of faith in Pac-Man. Pac-Man can be a rushdown character. He's got nair, forward air, back air. Camping, he like has a million setups, so if you try to camp him, he can just set up a setup. Swordies, he's got really good projectiles and a variety of projectiles as well. I think that Pac-Man's kind of a winner here. What else we got? So this is going to be an odd choice. I wouldn't normally put Hero this high up, but if we think about it, he loses kind of to Rushdown actually. He wins really well against campers, and he actually loses against swordies a lot as well. In my experience, when I play Hero, he really has a lot of struggle in that mid-range because like a lot of things are unreactable. And if you're going to go for things like down B, then people will just burst range you, and then you won't be able to actually pull anything. So actually, we're going to put Hero down towards the bottom of this. Are we going to find any character that does pretty well here? Maybe Roy. Roy has potential. Roy is fast enough to keep up with campers, and he has the options in range to deal with them as well. ZSS is another good candidate here. She's got Zaire to deal with swordies. She can do retreating Zaire for the most part. Camping, she's fast. She's got dash attack for burst range. Maybe even do better than Roy in that regard. Rushdown, you know, she is a rushdown, so you can't really fault her there because she's got frame 1 jab. Or is it frame 2? I forget. They're both really good. I don't think I'm gonna find anyone else here that's actually as good as these other characters. Pokemon Trainer is an interesting choice here, because like, you could swap to a Pokemon in order to counter a particular playstyle, but when you're fighting against a character that could cover even two of these, like for example, I was talking about Young Link, right? So Young Link is generally considered a camper, but also Young Link could be a rushdown character. So let's say that you swap from Squirtle, or you swap from Charizard to Squirtle because your opponent is camping you, and then like you just get rushed down instead, and then you swap to Ivysaur in order to like run away and throw projectiles and like have this area denial stuff going on, and then they just can't be harder or whatever. So like, you know, that's kind of an example of like, even though Pokemon Trainer could swap, like, that doesn't necessarily save them from anything. And also when you're like, each of the Pokemon themselves have a lot of weaknesses. Like Squirtle is super light, and Ivysaur is super slow startup on attacks and end lag on their attacks, and Charizard is super slow. Actually, that's really his main weakness, I suppose, and his combo food, I suppose. And they're like more weak in their weaknesses than a typical character is, because they're supposed to be able to swap to cover those weaknesses. But, you know, being really weak in a couple of areas and really strong in a couple of areas, and being able to choose which ones you're super weak in, isn't as good as just being good in all the areas. So I don't know. Oh, if you wanted my friend code, you could just use the friend code command. It's also called switch, I suppose. That should work. What is in low tier? What is this low tier? What are you talking about? Talking about Pac-Man or what? Alright, I think that we have a good cutoff for the next set of characters we're going to put up, so let's go ahead and just throw them up there. I just need to order them. I think, so let's think here. So we got the rushdown campers, sorties, or like mid-range playstyles to have to deal with. And I think that Pac-Man's probably going to do the best here, followed by Game & Watch, and then ZSS, followed by Roy. How is Samus in low tier? Well, if she's dealing with any of the camper matchups, then she kind of loses straight up. Like, you know, if you put a can down, then both missiles and charge shot don't go anywhere. And then the gunman is another layer on top of that. If you are like any of the pits, you can just keep on shooting arrows at her to stop her from charging. She wants to throw missiles, just do your down B. If you play as Gunner, you can just literally just use grenade launcher, and that just beats all the options. So like fire arrows, like Samus loses against other campers, which is kind of already pretty bad. But then on top of that, she also loses pretty badly to rushdowns. So like if you think about Ken getting in her face, you know, Cloud back airing her shield safely, Sonic. Actually, Sonic doesn't do that well against Samus because of charge shot. Uncharged charge shot does pretty well there. Like if you think about a lot of these characters, a lot of them have like really good tools. You know, shine, you know, shuriken, fireballs, absorption, grenades, scintilla, chomp. Like, a lot of these characters have a lot of things that just beat Samus's basic tools. And then she's relying on like rolling and back airing and up tilting and forward tilting, which are good. Like, they are good moves, yeah, but you know, most of her kit is kind of removed or invalidated by a lot of the cast. Why is Luigi in top 40? Well, I don't know yet. This was just basically off of, you know, 40 characters being worse than him. Like, I could think of all these characters being worse than Luigi, I think, but not sure yet. Maybe not Pyra. I think that was, I think I originally had Pyra in top 40, and then when I sorted them into these categories, I did put them back in the wrong place. Like, which one of these characters do you think is better than Luigi? Yoshi worse than Luigi? Yeah, Yoshi's not very good. We'll get to Yoshi. Alright, moving on. Let's get the next batch of characters that, you know, do okay in a couple of these. I think that we're gonna have Pokemon Trainer up here, Banjo, Diddy Kong, Greninja does pretty well generally speaking. Min Min, maybe. Hero? No. Bowser? Definitely not, no. Ness? Olimar does pretty well generally, given the restraints we put for each other. I had trouble with Mega Man. I think that Mega Man's gonna be close to the center. Yeah, I'm aware that that Diddy does pretty badly against those types of characters. That's why he's not like higher up. A lot of these characters have really good tools to deal with like a lot of different play styles, and I think we've run out of characters that have tools to deal with every single play style. In fact, I could probably just have one tier for top instead of top 5 and have it being separate from top. Oops. This isn't your standard tier list after all, so I can mix up how I do things. So top. Not many losing matchups, or like too many to be top. And then mid tier is just like just okay. This could be like struggles in multiple playstyles, or like struggles really, really hard with a particular playstyle, I suppose. Pac-Man's not good with swords? Why not? Why don't you throw oranges at swordies? then I guess I'll just delete this tier. Bottom 5 can just be lol. That's all you need to know about that. Please don't tell me I missed Pumpkin Hill. It's actually, no. It's all randomized, so I have no idea where that's going to be. You can actually request Pumpkin Hill. It's a little difficult to actually do the song requests because you have to get the YouTube search to perfectly match with what's already in my playlist. But it's possible. You can use the playlist command to check out what songs are available. Look at the sword fighters. Pac doesn't beat a single one. Pac-Man probably beats Roy already. Pac-Man probably beats... Well, you gotta get lucky with Hero. Probably beats Crom. Probably beats Ike. Pac does not beat Sword Fighter though. Probably beats... And also, sorties are not just like... Sorties doesn't mean sorties. Sorties actually means mid-range burst options. So like Byleth and Bowser Jr. and Richter, things like that. So if we're talking about people that lose against like one playstyle in particular, or has like a couple of glaring weaknesses that stop them from being top tier, I think that Banjo probably doesn't belong in here, but the rest of these characters so far are good. Let's see if I can find someone else. The thing about Lucina is that Lucina is just like generally good in a boring way. Like I can't really think of any strengths that she has or any weaknesses that she has, and same with Marth really, they're kind of the same character. It's just like if you're fighting a big body, play Marth. If you're fighting a small body, play Lucina. Inkling probably belongs up here. Alright, I think that this is going to be the list. Let's go ahead and throw them up there, and then I'll order them. Uh-oh, this is problematic. We're gonna need to have... We might need more tiers, because now we have all these low tiers, right? And there are only a couple more left to put in there. I don't think there are that many more low tiers. We don't want like mid-tier to be like the entire cast basically. But I don't know how to really to add more distinction between them. Man, it's so weird that there are 80 characters in this game. That's so many. Well, what if we put more of the characters that are... I mean, bottom 5 is the same thing as low. I hate to make the tiers really huge. Like, I don't want to put anyone else up here, for sure. can't believe you actually think that Pac-Man loses to, like, lots of sword fighters. Like, just Nair. Or forward airs. It's like, you got so many tools. You don't have to, you know, throw down a hydrant and then stand behind it. Showing what to do next. So let's at least sort this group first before we move on. Oh, I see what you're going with. This is kind of like the Marth syndrome in Melee. Marth is like really good and has a really good matchup spread, to the point that like when Marths encounter an even matchup, they all just say that it's a losing matchup because they aren't used to seeing losing matchups. Like, if it's even, or like close even, or hard even, all those weird ways that people talk about even matchups, then like, that's still fine. It's not like, you know, Jigglypuff, right? Like, what's Jigglypuff going to do against the sword? What's Me Brawler going to do against the sword? What's Kirby going to do against the sword? Or like Meta Knight, even though Meta Knight has a sword, I guess. But even then, Meta Knight has like no range, so it is basically like, what's Meta Knight going to do against a sword? Alright, so remembering what the tier list is supposed to be based on, how well they deal with a variety of playstyles and matchup spreads. So then I'm going to put Fox loses to Swordies, loses to Rushdown. Kind of struggles against Camping. Kind of struggles against Rushdown. Struggles a little bit on everything depending on which Pokemon they're on. Swords, projectiles, camping, and running away. I think Inkling belongs here, and then it's going to be Pokemon Trainer, followed by Greninja, then Sonic, then Diddy Kong, Olimar, Pichu, Min, Fox, I think is what that order would look like. Ken is in a weird place. I have a lot of faith in Ken on a normal tier list. On this tier list, he mostly loses to multi-hits, I feel like, and like disjoints. Disjointed multi-hits especially. So like Rob up air, Samus forward air. And he has to stay grounded a lot. Like, he doesn't really have that much that he can do in the air. But there aren't really that many of those types of characters. So I think I'll put Ken and Ryu near the top here. I don't know where they're going to be yet. Oh, don't worry about it, Sonic. You got your Dr. Mario down here. And what else do you play? I mean, I've always had faith in Sonic. and Diddy Kong as well, and Pac-Man. And then there's someone else. Oh yeah, don't worry, your pits are down here. Wi-Fi got nerfed today? What do you mean by that? What happened in the server maintenance? Oh, Wii Fit. Okay, Wii Fit trainer. Yeah, I could see Ken getting camped, but like, at this point in time, like, getting camped isn't like as big of a deal because we've already covered all the characters that like can deal with everything. It's fine if some of these characters down here can't deal with everything anymore. Like, I think they were actually at the point where we're ready to start putting DDD on the list. I'm just kind of putting characters... I'm just kind of like sorting the ones that are really good towards the front here. Ooh, did we misplace Wario? Yeah, Wario kind of struggles with swords. Wario is like a character that can camp by running away, but in order to actually get a benefit from that camping, he has to actually rush you down. So like, he's okay in this particular type of style. I actually put him really, really high on the original tier list that was based on winning best of 5 sets because, you know, having an extra stock with your waft setups is kind of broken. And, you know, good air mobility, things like that, heavy weight, things like that. But these are basically like winning a best of 1 against someone that's playing random, I guess. That's good equally with all the characters, I guess is how you would describe this tier list. Like, you can't go wrong going Palu, right? Like, no matter what your opponent chooses, you're probably going to be fine playing Palu, you're probably going to be fine playing Pikachu, you're probably going to be fine playing, like, any of these characters. How is Shulk not top 10? I need to think about that. I don't really see too much top Shulk play. Like, I know that everyone's like, oh, you just, you know, do Monado, you shift Monado arts into armor, and then, like, you get out of combos. And then, like, okay, so you got out of a combo, and then what? Like, and also, I don't understand why people would go for non-true combos on Shulk knowing that he has armor and cheats. But let's actually think about how good Shulk would actually do here, right? So like, Shulk has Nair, short hop Nair, which is kind of his main thing here. And that's pretty good. But like, if Shulk goes into like Smash Art, right? And I'm playing as most characters, especially up here, like I'm just going to put stuff in the way of Shulk even doing anything with that. Like I'm just going to teleport platform cancel away with Palu, or I'm going to throw out Thunder Jolts and like quick attack my way away. Shoot laser, like, you know, Nair out. I'm just gonna basically avoid the Smash Art until it's over, and then I'm going to go back to playing the game as normal. So if Shulk can't catch up to the opponent, and like a lot of these characters here, Shulk actually can't keep up to, because they're all kind of fast. Not all of them. Like, what's the slowest character over here? Omar's kind of slow. Min Min's pretty slow. Ivysaur's kind of slow. Charizard's not even that slow, actually. Rob's pretty slow on the ground, or in the air. Like, I just don't see Monado arts mattering for these. And then if he goes into into speed mode, right? So then now that's like, okay, well, you know, what's he gonna do at that point? Like, he's faster than most characters, but he's not even faster than Sonic at that point. And Sonic still has weaknesses dealing with like projectiles at that point. I just don't really see it. I don't see Shulk being top 10 here. I could see him possibly being in this high tier. But like, which of these characters would do better overall than Shulk? I like Banjo as being a more all-arounder character, like a lot of tools to deal with a lot of different things. Egg grenade, busted. Eggs, busted. Wonder Wing's okay. If it's a limited resource, you run out of it eventually. I don't really want to, factor that in too much. But at the very least, it does give people like a mind game. Like that puts him like as a really good sortie character. Like he's really good in burst range. You can do like, forward tilt into Wonder Wing or to like stop people from trying to whiff punish you because you're invincible on startup. You just have to worry about people with command grabs like Incineroar, Kirby, DDD, Wario. When it comes to Wonder Wing specifically. But I think mostly like eggs is a really good tool. Camping against Banjo, he's got egg grenade there to stop that, or to at least deal with that. It's a little slow. Rushdown, he's got like Nair to shield is pretty good. I want to see what that is. Do I think Pack is 6th best? It depends on what tier list you're making. In this particular tier list, yes. But we can, I can make a different tier list based on a different set of criteria and have Pac-Man not be 6th best. In the last tier list I made, Pac-Man was not 6th best. What did I have as my... I think I actually have that lying around here somewhere. My original tier list. The last time I did a tier list was during version 5.0. Looks like I erased it actually. I don't have it anymore. So under the thumbnail somewhere, but that's okay. Ice Climbers struggle against campers, yeah. I don't think they struggle against sorties very much. Well, I guess it depends on this type of sortie. I think that, it's like impossible for Ice Climbers to beat DDD. But like some of these single hit sorties, like if you think about Lucina, like if you do forward tilt on shield, you can just get side beat out of shield. Or if like you miss a PK fire, you can actually hop over it with side B there. Remember, sorties don't mean only characters that have swords. It means like people that play at mid-range. I'll even mid-range pokes. There we go. So that it's not confusing to people anymore. Like for an example, I would actually put Villager into this mid-range poke because, he's got all Villager likes to kind of approach you with slingshots and Lloyd rockets, and those are not like camping tools. Like you would never get hit by those from full screen. Yoshi's a pretty good example. Well, actually, Yoshi's more of a rushdown, I suppose. I'm gonna put Ness up here at this point, I think. Ness does okay against... Actually, no, wait, what? Let me think about this a bit harder. Not really, does pretty well against camping. Not so much against rushdown, although he does actually have good tools. He's got Nair, and that's all you need really. He's got Nair. And then his mid-range, he's got PK Fire. And like double jump cancel forward air, and double jump cancel PK Fire. I guess he does okay here. I guess at this point we're out of characters that are like just super strong, and we're just kind of dealing with a bunch of characters that are okay unless you use a particular playstyle against them. So Bowser's gonna probably be a little lowered here. I think that Duck Hunt's going to do pretty well here. Cloud's not even close to being up here. Wario does pretty well here. DDD I think does pretty well up here. Mario is just outside of this range, I would say. Again, I don't know where to put Lucina. Lucina has like no strengths and no weaknesses. She just does okay at everything. So I don't know where to put Lucina. I have no idea. I think I might just put Lucina up in the high tier. I'm just gonna put this character here right now because I really don't see me having a strong opinion one way or another about her otherwise. And then I actually have pretty strong opinions on these other characters though. Oops, whoa. Not that at all. Alright, let's order these now. I think Banjo actually belongs there, Ness belongs there. Probably Snake is better here. And I like Duck Hunt. Duck Hunt has a lot of good potential here. It's just like if you took Pac-Man and made every single tool that Pac-Man has a little bit worse, then you would have Duck Hunt. And yeah, I think that that's good enough to place pretty high on this tier list. Neutral everything but belongs in high tier rather than mid. I mean, not having any clear weaknesses, I mean, that's like the same argument that I had for Pokemon Trainer, right? Although, given that I gave that argument against Pokemon Trainer, and I said that being weak in a lot of different things meant that, well, nah, you do have control over when you switch, though. And you are really strong in the things that you choose to do at the time. To that end, I think I'm actually going to put Pyra and Mithra somewhere in here as well. I've been noticing that Pyra and Mithra do pretty poorly generally against other sorties. From like the tournament sets I've been watching, but I'm not sure if it's because people don't know how to use her yet. And she actually wins generally. Or whether she actually struggles in fighting other sword characters. But like Mithra is so fast that like she can kind of deal with other rushdown characters and campers, and then Pyra is really good at mid-range. Okay, I think that we've got enough of high tier so far. And just to make sure, let me see if I think that anyone's better than Pyra here before I move on. I could have an argument for Shulk being around here as well. And I may even put Shulk higher than Pyra here. In a normal tier list, I would put Sephiroth really high. But I think that Sephiroth has too much startup and has to play a particular way in order to be successful. And in a matchup chart like this, where we're talking about being overall good in every situation, I don't really see it happening. You know, he's very light and lots of startup. And until he gets wings, he's super slow. He's not super slow, but he's like slow enough to not, for this to not matter. Alright, so now switching mindsets, let's go back to low. And also at some point in time, let's start thinking about mid-tiers. Because we're almost out of top 40 characters here. And we're pretty soon going to be out of bottom 40 characters. But we need to fill in this mid-tier somewhere along the way. So some easy candidates for these characters that like lose hard in a couple of matchups here. I think Ike struggles in both Rushdown and in projectile, and even swords really, especially if they have a counter. Or like they have some sort of like, you know, Prana Plant down B or Ridley neutral B or up B for Lucas, bombs for the, you know, there are a lot of things that Ike struggles with here. Isabel's side B, you know, destroys a lot of the recoveries here. But then Chrom has to be worse than Ike for sure, because Ike at least has side B. Chrom is like a really, really good rushdown character, but that's really about it. Like, if he's dealing with a character that's about as good at rushdown as he is, but is faster, like even someone like Yoshi, for example, he's going to struggle hard. What is Falcon doing in top 40? What? No way. Let's get him out of there. I only just now noticed that. Well, since there was someone that has to replace him in top 40, who do I think is the best of the characters that I have listed here? It's probably going to be like Terry or Me Gunner, or Sword Fighter actually could be up there as well. Or like maybe Link? Not really Link. Kind of Link. Yeah, Link could be up there. Choices. I'm gonna put Sword Fighter. Sword Fighter is kind of a good jack of all trades. Like, if I'm thinking about the worst character in top 40, I could put me Sword Fighter as the 40th best character in the game. Why is Roy top 10 and Chrom bottom 40? Mostly in kill power. Roy, like if Roy gets in on a camper, then that camper is probably not going to get away again. And Chrom's going to like do damage and like send them off stage, and then probably do some sort of like ledge trap, something or the other. But like, you don't really have to fear Chrom the same way that you have to fear Roy. Chrom is probably towards the top of, well, actually no, that's not true. Chrom was supposed to also be, like, Chrom in advantage is really, really good. But Chrom also has, like, a really, really exploitable recovery. So if you think about, you know, anyone getting on top of him and spiking, that's like a free edge guard. And he doesn't even have side B to just do differently. Whereas Roy has armor on his up B all the way through until he grabs the ledge, and can even hold down in order to have armor a little bit past the ledge in the same way that DDD does. When it comes to rushdown, they're probably about the same. Roy's probably about as strong of a rushdown character as Chrom. Chrom doesn't have the ridiculous kill power of side B. And he also doesn't have the ridiculous kill power of up B either. Although if Chrom decides to trade stocks, then he could have the ridiculous kill power of up B. But like, you're trading a stock at that point, and like, that just doesn't seem like, you know, top 40 material to me. First time being on a stream of mine? Well, welcome, Margaret. This is very different content than I usually do on the channel, but we're having fun with it today. We're making a tier list with a twist. Today's twist is that it's not based on like tournament results or like winning super major or, you know, coming out on top on a best of 5 set, but rather matchup spread and being like overall okay against a bunch of different playstyles. And so it's just mostly used as a discussion point for like how certain characters lose certain matchups. I don't think that Dark Pit does very well against projectiles and like camping in general. He has like an average speed, and he's got, I guess his arrows are stronger than Pit's, but like I don't really see him doing that great at trying to approach someone that doesn't want to be approached. I also don't really see him doing too well at the mid-range either. Like, I guess he has dash attack and like side B, so it's like he does okay, I guess, in that. And he does, I don't really see him doing particularly strongly in the rushdown category either. Like, if he doesn't want to get hit, then like what's he gonna do? He does well with camping compared to Joker. He does well with camping compared to Game & Watch. He does well with camping compared to Greninja, compared with like Banjo and Kazooie. Like, I think that he does okay in a lot of things, but I don't think he does nearly as well in any of those categories as anything that I've talked about up here. Like, that's how you should be thinking about it. Like, if you just think about, I think my character is good, and therefore they're too low on the tier list, then like every character is just going to be high tier. You have to think, alright, well if I were to drop this character and pick up one of these characters, how much better would I be in all of my areas of gameplay? And if you are strictly better off in every category by picking up another character, then your character's probably not good. But I agree, he's pretty okay at a lot of different things. Like, he probably will end up in this mid-tier, just okay, struggles in multiple playstyles. I guess it's not struggle isn't really the case there. Like, it's really just, they're just okay. Like, it's not like there aren't... That's really what I should name this tier. We could probably start putting some characters in mid-tier and then sort them later. Like, I think that the Pits probably are in here, Falco's probably in here. I think that Young Link could belong in here, along with all the Links probably. All the Links, pretty much you can play them all kind of the same way. They're just like a little stronger in different ways, like Link's sword has a little bit more range, like Toon Link has bomb to fair, Young Link has neutral air, but also Link has neutral air. And like remote bomb is a little different from like these other bombs, so like he has area denial as opposed to you know, cooking the projectiles instead. What are some of these other characters that probably belong down there? This character's probably going to end up down there as well. I need to just think about some of these in the context of our original. Probably Gunner belongs in there as well. They're just like, they're just okay, you know? Steve is just okay. Yoshi's just okay. With a lot of these characters that are like just okay, there's going to be a good chance that when I end up ordering this mid-tier list, it's going to end up looking like I'm going to end up having some characters that I put in quote-unquote bottom 40 above characters that I put in quote-unquote, you know, top 40. And that's just because, like, when you're okay at the game, like, it doesn't really matter whether you're actually top 40 or top or bottom 40. It's like you're not top 20, so it doesn't matter. What are Mega Man's bad matchups? I'd say mostly dealing with camping. Like, Mega Man has an effective range. Like, his pellets are good at the range right in front of him, so like he's good in this range, and he's also okay in this range if he does short hop pellet. But like, if you hit the back of his shield, he doesn't really have anything to stop you. Like, if you hit the front of his shield, he'll hit you with forward air, right? And if you hit him with and if he has a metal blade in his hand and you hit his shield, he probably will like footstool metal blade you or something like that, or just throw the metal blade. But like, if you instead like are playing a rushdown, so you can't react to whether they're going to use an aerial on your shield or if they're going to tomahawk grab. You have to, yes, call those things out. So like, if you just go for, if you're playing like a really fast character like Mario, like Mithra, like Roy, like Wolf, like, let's do some of these weaker characters that are rushdown. So like Mii Brawler, or even Lucario. Actually, Lucario doesn't fall fast enough for that to work. Or like Sheik. You're gonna end up with a lot of him getting grabbed, or a lot of, I can't deal with the shield pressure because I don't have anything out of shield that's fast, especially in the back. And that's going to be problematic for rushdown. And then mid-range he does okay, because Metal Blade is unreactable too, and like pellets are good, they interrupt a lot of things. But when you get past that range, like when you're dealing with characters that are going to be hitting you with projectiles that outrange your melons, not your melons, your lemons. You got like Villager and Isabelle, you got like your heroes with their side B, you got your Mii Gunner with their grenade launcher. You know, what are you gonna do if Steve is on the other side of the stage mining? You have to approach, and that's not gonna be fun. What if Diddy Kong's holding a banana? What if Hydrant is on the ground? What if Yoshi's throwing eggs at you? Like, what if any of the Links are shooting arrows at you or throwing bombs at you? You end up having a lot of struggles with a lot of different, well, you have a lot of struggle with camping, even though you have projectiles, which is not a good look. And you also struggle a lot with rushdown. Where's Simon? Simon is the same character as Richter. They occupy a different character slot, but like if I click this tab, then like all the Echo fighters show up. So like Dark Samus is also missing. And where's Simon? There he is. But it's the same character. The only difference is Plasma down B instead of Fire down B. So that's why I put Mega Man down this low. Yep. I would imagine that Mega Man struggles against the Lynx. Even like, especially against the Lynx. Like I was just talking about the playstyle of just standing back and shooting arrows, but specifically against the Lynx. Like I can't imagine that being a good matchup for Mega Man, because Lynx neutral air and Young Link's neutral air destroys the lemons, and the sword swipes outrange anything that Mega Man can do as far as aerials are concerned, except for back air, of course. Like, I just imagine this is just a terrible, terrible matchup for Mega Man. Like, I don't know whether it's a terrible, terrible matchup, but I can only imagine that it is. Just based off of, like, what I know about Mega Man and what I know about Lynx. Like, even, like, think about fighting K. Rool. Like, Mega Man fighting K. Rool, he just throws a crown toss and it destroys literally all of Mega Man's projectiles on the way, forcing him to jump. And now he's above K. Rool, which means, like, you know, up air or something like that. Mega Man obviously has some tools in the matchup, like using down air to destroy his recovery, but, like, if you think about just, like, mostly neutral, it's kind of weird that I know that I'm kind of jumping over the place, because sometimes I'll say this character is weak because of recovery, and then I'll say, well, this is a bad matchup if you ignore the recovery. But, like, you just gotta go with it. There are 80 characters. It's hard to be consistent about how you actually rank them all. So many. Alright, so I think that these are some good candidates for mid-tier. I think that we can probably throw a couple more in there for just okay characters. I think Zelda's just okay. I think Terry's just okay. Simon's just okay. There are actually still more high tiers than there are mid tiers, and maybe we're okay with that just because of how Ultimate is. I guess I could put a couple more mid tiers in. Like, I think Lucas could be here. Lucas is kind of on the fringe. Wii Fit Trainer probably actually deserves better than bottom 40, probably the top of mid tier somewhere. Like, Deep Breathing turns Wii Fit into a rushdown character, but, like, side B and neutral B turns her into a camper. But she does struggle kind of in the mid-range, though. Like, if you're in that range where you're able to react to side B or neutral B, then, like, you can just, like, shield those attacks, and then she doesn't have the resource until later on, and then you can just kind of try to run away while she has Deep Breathing, even though she does become pretty fast at that point. Alright, I think we're actually getting towards the end here. We need more low tier characters here. I think that it's a pretty safe bet that we can put someone like Bowser Jr. down here. Bowser Jr. has, like, almost no, like, Bowser Jr. has, like, a really good move, right? He's got side B and he's got up air, and those moves are so good. You can, like, win, you can beat, like, you could be the top player in your state with just, like, side B and up air, because those moves are so good. But, like, you know, at some point in time, you gotta realize, why wouldn't I just play Sonic? If you want a move that has armor-like properties, in this case it would be invincibility, that combos into my normals, that's really fast, like, you could just do that with Sonic, except you have more control over when you stop, and you have, like, you're faster, and you have more combo potential. You're giving up a projectile, though. Like, this is just discount Sonic, really, with a projectile. And I'm not talking about neutral B. Neutral B is terrible. But I'm talking about down B, the Mecha Koopas. Like, Mecha Koopas are basically a worse bomb. Like, you can put them on the ground, and then you can pick them up. But it takes longer to just throw them on the ground and pick them up than the bombs do from any other character. Like, even Peach's turnips, it's just the slowest item to pick up. And for these reasons, I don't really think that he really has anything to deal with, like, someone pressuring his shield. He's got, like, neutral air at his shield, I guess, right? That's, like, his whole thing. That's not even that fast. people will say things like, oh, his forward smash is unreactable. Well, not unreactable, his forward smash is unpunishable. I mean, sure, I guess. Like, just don't try to shield grab it, and then you'll be fine, I guess. But yeah, I think that when it comes to people that don't want to play the game, Bowser Jr. doesn't have any answers. And for people that only want to face roll their controller, Bowser Jr. doesn't have answers. And I think he actually does pretty well in the mid-range. Like, he's got forward tilt, he's got side B. But even that side B is like, he makes a really loud noise and like a really obvious animation, so it's kind of reactable. He has the same problems that kind of Wii Fit has, except, you know, just worse overall in every single category. And not even as good at Wii Fit in those categories that he's strong in. Alright, we're down to the wire here. We've got just a few more characters left. Welcome to the Discord, Mustard. Banjo on high tier. Well, this is a different tier list. This is not your standard one. I think that you gotta kind of go to the beginning. Oh, actually, I should do something about this, actually. Let me actually put the criteria on the screen right now so that people that come in late will understand what's going on here. So let's add a new text source. I don't really do this very often, so I need to figure this out. Is Fatality the best Falcon? As far as I know, yes. I haven't seen anything else going on that would say otherwise. Tier list criteria. Excels in a variety of playstyles. Doesn't have a single I lose option. Who's the best Banjo? That's a good question. I wonder if it's Rizayasu or something like that. Utopian Ray or Trello? That's probably right. I just assumed that if I don't know the answer, it's probably Rizayasu, that Japanese player that mains like 20 different characters and like wins Japanese offline events using everyone under the sun. Alright, so the criteria here is we want characters that are just overall So we want like good matchup spread. It's kind of like, so a standard tier list usually talks about your chances of winning a Smash tournament, right? So this is going to be like winning a super major, which means you're going to have to go through a variety of characters throughout the day, along with like execution difficulty, like how easy are they to use, how much mental strain does it take on yourself in order to play the character or to beat someone that's that's using the character. Things like, you know, does this character have a really strong counter pick option? Things like that. So that's a completely different tier list. This is more of like you're entering you're entering a tournament in a city that you've never been to before, and it's like top 8 like qualifiers, and you're playing this character that you have, and you have no idea what your opponent's going to choose game 1. You know, and you want to basically hedge your bets so that you have the most overall success in one game not knowing what your opponent's going to choose. I think that's kind of like how I would best explain what we're doing here. And this is basically a suggestion based off of what chat wanted me to discuss here. Wins in rushdown, camping, and mid-range. I'm gonna say sortie range because but people get confused because like Roy exists. I'll say mid-range. I mean, the technical term would be like rapier if you play other fighting games like Raphael range or like Fourier range and things like that. But I don't think that Smash players play other fighting games, so I'm going to just talk about like what's a good range. King DDD's forward tilt is like the perfect example of this. I'm just gonna say mid-range. Alright, let's make sure that that looks good on screen. Yep, that looks fine. It could be a little bigger, but like, that's good. See, Mustard knows what's up. Is this sorted? I think I think the Bowser Jr. was the only thing we've added to this list so far. I think Ridley's gonna go down here. Ridley struggles a lot in a lot of ranges, actually. Because at a I want to avoid confrontation level, Ridley isn't really fast enough to keep up with anyone. His projectiles, you can just go on a platform and you'll be fine. If he tries to throw out a projectile or he starts charging projectiles, if you interrupt it with any small projectile, it like does a load of damage and puts him in a lot of hit stun. So you can then like combo into that. His dash attack is pretty good, I guess. Forward tilt's okay at mid-range. Ridley's a pretty, like, I'd say that that's where he fits best at mid-range, thanks to forward tilt and side B. But, you know, he's a big body. His nair out of shield is actually kind of okay, so I would guess that his rushdown game is okay. So against some characters, like he would probably do well against like, you know, Brawler or DD Rushdown or something like that, but like some of these other better Rushdown characters, like he's not going to do anything against Ness, he's not going to do anything against Roy, he's not going to do anything against Wolf or Fox. Even really against the Pits, I really don't see him do anything, or like, yeah, or like spaced back airs on his shield at mid-range. Like what's he going to do if Sephiroth hits back air, or if even Cloud hits back air? So I think he doesn't do very well here. I think Sheik actually is better than both of these characters, though. So I'm gonna put Sheik above them. And then I already talked about Mega Man pretty well. Like Mega Man struggles at the rushdown and camping range as well. So I'm gonna put Mega Man below Sheik as well. Sheik actually does have like pretty decent tools when it comes to these particular things, because she's fast and has good frame data, and because she's got needles, Like, I think I may have underestimated Sheik a lot, given the criteria here. I think that I put her kind of low because of her weight and lack of kill options, generally speaking, but when it comes to just like winning neutral, oh, that's actually a pretty good way of talking about this tier list. This is kind of like the winning neutral against a variety of playstyles. Yeah, that actually kind of lines up very well with this particular tier list. I'm actually going to add this to the criteria, because that's actually kind of what's going on here. wins neutral. Of course, you have to understand what neutral is. I'm not going to go over that today. Sorry. You're just going to have to come back for more content later. That doesn't... I've pushed something off the screen with that. So this needs to be rush down, camping, and middle ranges. There we go. Alright, switching topics again. Let's go back up to the top. To these high tiers. Wario does pretty well here, because he's automatically is winning neutral when he's being camped, because he can eat projectiles and takes no damage, and he is building waft the whole time. As far as rushing down his opponent, he's pretty good at it. He's got neutral air. It's pretty fast. It's pretty good out of shield as well. Pretty fast out of shield options. I think I'm going to put Wario as my next character here, right underneath the Aegis. The issue that I have with Peach, normally I would put Peach really high up because she has ridiculous offense off of turnip toss. But if you have a lead against Peach and you decide that you don't want to play the game anymore, then Peach really doesn't have any answer whatsoever to that. Like, I don't know how you would get the lead. Like, maybe some jank, or maybe, like, whatever, you just throw projectiles the whole time. But, like, once you have that lead, Peach really doesn't have much of an answer to, like, coming back. If you decide to, like, not really hit their shield ever again. And that's why I really can't put Peach that high up here, even though on a typical tier list she would probably be top 5 for me. Because she's just kind of ridiculous. Maybe. Actually, I don't think in the last tier list, I don't think she was top 5 in the last tier list. But I do have a high opinion of Peach typically, but yeah, I don't really see it happening here. Like, there's like a range, like if you're in back air range, or like if you're in back air range of Peach, you should be afraid. And then as soon as you get outside of that range, assuming that you're reacting to side B, you really don't have anything to worry about. So Peach might actually even go low tier on this particular tier list, and it's going to look so awkward. Yeah, I would say that Peach probably belongs like right below the Lynx. She's like just okay. Which is an awful thing to do. I really hate to put Peach so low, but that's the criteria. Gotta be unbiased here. Let's see what else we got here. I feel like we should... No, I was going to like balance the tiers a bit so I could have more low tiers, but I think this is fine, especially since bottom tier technically is also low tier. It's just like these are bottom 5. We need a bit more mid tiers, and I think that... Yeah, I don't think that we're going to put anyone else in top tier. So the rest of them are going to be either high tier or mid tier here. Well, that's not true. There's still a couple more low tiers, maybe. let's actually think about that. What are the other low tiers here? So the obvious answers for like what could possibly be low tier. I actually put Isabelle in like bottom 6 on like a real tier list. But I think that Isabelle does really, really well at mid-range and against camping. And even her Nair is pretty good for dealing with rushdown. So like, I don't think that she belongs in low tier on this particular tier list. Violet is really good mid-range, struggles camping, struggles rushdown. Think that that's a pretty good candidate for being low tier. Struggles with camping only, struggles with camping only, struggles with camping and mid-range. Maybe. We'll put that around here. Does pretty okay everywhere. Struggles at mid-range, especially if the character is short. I think that this is probably going to be the best of the characters that are in low tier right now. And then we'll put these down here. And then we gotta order these in some kind of way. Plant, I think, does pretty well at all ranges. Rushdown, you can kind of like... Rushdown actually I think is where they struggle. Camping is good for Plant. They can get their setups like their Poison Clouds and their Down Bees and do shield pressure and whatnot. And Patui. Villager is just okay at everything and not particularly good at anything. That's pretty bad, I'd say. In the same way that it is for, like, Mega Man. So I'm actually gonna put Villager down here in low tier. Just like okay at everything. But like, I mean, it's like okay at everything, but like not good enough at anything. Like, at least all these other characters have, like, A strength, you know? Like, Zelda is, like, probably one of the best mid-range characters. But struggles in Rushdown, although she has Teleport out of shield. And, like, she's really good against campers as well. And, like, Mega Man can't really deal with that. Villager can't really deal too well with that either. Byleth has got to go up here as well. Byleth isn't better than Sheik. Is Byleth even better than Mega Man? Is Byleth even better than Ridley? I think this is where Byleth belongs. Very telegraphed projectile. Not very good against people that don't want to play the game. Not even that great against characters that, you know, are face rolling. Does okay in mid-range. Captain Falcon is a really good rushdown character. Not terrible when it comes to dealing with camping because it's very fast. Actually, he has a really good burst range with mid-range poking. So I'd say that Captain Falcon does pretty well. I'm actually going to put Captain Falcon... Nope. Captain Falcon belongs below Isabelle here. Does he belong below Plant? Yes, he does. These are going to be kind of mid-tier characters, probably. Isabelle, I'm going to put above Richter. Plant goes below. Falcon goes below. Crom. Have we reached bottom tier yet? Or low tier yet? I'm gonna put Meta Knight kind of low as well. If the opponent doesn't want to play with him, he doesn't have an answer for that. I'd even say that he probably even goes down here even. Maybe even down here. Actually, yeah, he goes pretty low down here. He has like no, what's it called? Nothing to help him against campers. And then when it comes to playing at mid-range, he's got dash attack, that's kind of nice. And like, he just has to commit so hard, I guess, when it comes to playing neutral. Alright, so we got a couple more characters left. Lucas. Is actually better than all these characters. Ike is even better. Crom can be down there too. Bayo actually does pretty well, I think. She's got guns down, and she's got bullet climax, you know, witch twist, and witch time. I think she's actually probably, nope, she belongs where she is. Hey, we did it. We're out of the bottom 40. Alright, and lastly, let's get these last couple of characters in here. How long have we been going for? Wow, 2 hours, that's a long time. I was trying to like speed run this, but that is not turning out to be the case. I thought this was going to be like an hour thing, but that actually doesn't make sense because it would be 1 minute per character, and even then we wouldn't be done, and I take a lot of time explaining why a character is where they are. I actually have a lot of faith in Mii Sword Fighter here, especially when you use the Chakram and the Reflector, because it's a fast projectile, you have a reflector, but you're not really doing too well in the rushdown department, which is why they're not really high up here. I'm gonna put Mario next in high tier. Fireballs, cape, neutral air, you know, for the three. Fireballs, cape, neutral air, and he's pretty fast as well. Next up is probably DDD. Kind of struggles in the rushdown department. Kind of struggles in the camping department. He's really good in the mid-range though. Forward tilt, jab 1 and 2, inhale. Like, even Gordo is pretty good at mid-range. But, you know, he does okay against campers. Like, in fact, probably all of these are not as good as Wario, or even belong in the same tier with as Wario. These are probably the top of mid-tier, I'd say. Because, like, Wario really is not, you know, struggling that hard in any particular playstyle, but, you know, if you choose just to not engage with DDD, he has some struggles there. Sephiroth struggles in the rushdown department and against campers. So I'm going to put him above the pits. I did see your face reveal on Discord. We only got 5 left to sort here. Alright, so Luigi is kind of interesting, right? Like at the mid-range, he loses if the opponent is in the air at mid-range, and then he wins if the opponent is on the ground at mid-range. Against camping, he really doesn't have any sort of answer except for a slow-moving projectile. And Rushdown he actually does pretty well. He's got up B, he's got down B, he's got like neutral air. I'm gonna put him kind of in the middle of mid-tier. I think that he's around the same as, like, he's definitely not as good as like me Gunner. Is he even as good as Falco? Yeah, Falco doesn't really have much for the mid-range. He does have a lot for projectiles though, and he also has a lot for up close. Is Luigi as good as the Lynx? Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to put him pretty low down, actually. I think he's gonna be right below Zelda. Which is funny, because I think that Steve and Ice Climbers were in bottom 40, and now Luigi's below them. Rosa can't deal with Rushdown at all. Actually does pretty well against camping and against mid-range. So she does pretty well here. I'm gonna put her right below the pits. Bowser. He's got up B out of shield to deal with Rushdown, as well as side B out of shield. So like, if you nared Bowser's shield, right? He's probably good. Like if he parries, or if you just don't have a good follow-up move, then you have to make a choice. If you try to push buttons, he's going to up B out of shield, and then you're going to lose. If you decide to shield, he's going to side B, and you'll lose. So you really have to just like be better than your opponent to have this work out. But you still have the options at least. Like you have all the tools you need in order to do well in that situation. Luigi's not really a camper. Like what would he do to camp against you? Like, how far away is Luigi typically standing on the stage? It's definitely not like at half stage length, because like he doesn't really have anything that's unreactable at that distance, except for like misfire. But like if you go for a side B and then you don't actually get the misfire, then you're just gonna get punished. Luigi's more of like a mid-ranged fighter, because he's got fireballs are like, you know, you're going to force your opponent to either jump or shield at that distance as opposed to run away. And then from there, if they jump, you can up air or back air. And if they shield, you can grab. Or if you can run up, pretend to grab, and then go for a back air, up air, or something like that. Luigi usually likes to fight right outside of grab range, so that you have to react to, or so that you cannot react to what he's going to do next. I'm getting Wii U nostalgia. Yeah, Nintendo Land is awesome. It's actually a really great game. Cloud's main weakness is dealing with Rushdown, I think. He's got up B out of shield, and that's kind of the only thing that he's got to really deal with that. It's a pretty good tool, though. Mid-range, he does pretty well. He's got side B, he's got cross slash. Camping, he can just get limit and then go to town based on that. It's like okay. It's definitely a mid-tier. I'm gonna put him in the just okay. It's not as good as Wii Fit Trainer. Wii Fit Trainer, like, could actually be considered this better Cloud. Actually, that's actually kind of true. Because, like, I mean, Wii Fit Trainer does not have up B out of shield. But, you know, they've got a better projectile than Blade Beam. And they have better burst options. Like, Cloud has got Frost Slash and Dash Attack. But if Wii Fit Trainer has Deep Breathing, then Wii Fit Trainer's got like back air, forward air reversed, like side B, you know, all sorts of kill confirms, like neutral air into up smash. Yeah, that's wow. I can't believe Cloud is just an inferior version of Wii Fit. Also, it's hard to say whether Cloud is better or worse than Sephiroth. Actually, it's pretty easy to say that. More range, Nair out of shield compared to up B out of shield, wings versus limit. Yeah, just better in every way there. Probably worse than the pits. Probably better than Rosa. Bowser. This is going to be a hard one. Oh yeah, I was in the middle of doing Bowser actually. So we were talking about him being against Rushdown. Against camping, not really much there. You can just like run at them, I suppose. Mid-range, he's actually really good at mid-range. Fire Breath is really, really good. And then forward air is also really, really good. But he's got that one weakness, one glaring weakness there. So we're actually going to put him in high tier, actually. And then Hero. Last one to rank here. I may as well erase that. Alright, so against Rushdown, he's got up B out of shield, which is only a good when you got platforms. Not too much though. Mid-range side B is a really good option. Against camping, you don't want to camp Hero. Hero is so good against camping. Ridiculously good against camping, because he just fishes through menu. So he's really, really good at against camping. Okay against mid-range, not that great against Rushdown. That sounds like just okay to me. I'm gonna put him below the Lynx, or above the Lynx. It doesn't really matter. You're so close, you're so around mid-tier that like, they're all basically the same. Alright, I think that's the tier list. We got Pumpkin Hill. Now this is Aquatic Mine actually. Someone was asking after Pumpkin Hill earlier. Alright, so once again, this is not really like a for real tier list. This is not like, you know, who you should play if you're trying to win tournaments. This is more like if you're trying to win neutral against a random character or a random playstyle, who has the most number of tools to deal with a variety of playstyles. Which maybe that does translate to winning tournaments. Like the top tier kind of looks the same no matter what, probably. Well, that's not entirely true. Like if you were talking about like a tier list of characters with the most amount of cheesy victories, then like, you know, maybe you wouldn't get Palutena up there, because like he's got like what, up air and side B jank, I guess. But I think I'm pretty comfortable with this tier list. It could almost tier, like the thing about tier lists is like when you're not in the top tier, it doesn't really matter. Like you may as well not play the character really. So like I would say that probably this is probably the cutoff. No, Fox is probably the cutoff for like, you know, viability, I'd say. If you're just going based off of this tier list. And then everything after that is like, yeah, you could play this character, but why wouldn't you just play a better character? And there you go. Final thoughts, you guys. I should take a snapshot. Alright, that's not that difficult to do. Oh, I need green shot actually. Hopefully this isn't destroying the stream right now. I like how arbitrarily the actual icon in the top is just DDD. Smash tier list neutral wins. There we go. Hero should be higher than Falco, that's it. Where's Hero? Oh, that's so funny. Yeah, like I said, once you're in that middle tier, it doesn't even matter. I kind of like this tier list, not even just for neutral wins. Like, the top tier still is about the same. Some characters that I would probably put higher on a standard tier list, I would put like Zelda, DDD, Falco, Peach, Link, Young Link, Samus, Sheik, Pyra, Sephiroth. All those would be like higher, yeah, but like I think that we have enough. Mario would be higher as well, but like I think that this is a pretty good list here. DK should just stay where he is. DK isn't that low, isn't he? Yeah, he's pretty up there. Look at him. And DK has like... DK is really good at the mid-range. With forward tilt, up tilt, up B out of... not out of shield, but like up B generally. So that mid-range is mostly like... you got a bunch of unreactable mix-ups. So like at mid-range, DK can dash attack you, or he could grab you, or he could side B you. And you have to kind of know what the opponent's going to do in order to counter it properly. If you decide to run away from DK, he's not catching you. And if you want to attack DK's shield, you should probably make sure to do it on the back of his shield as opposed to the front. But he doesn't really have many options, especially if you're a short character. He's gonna have to basically parry if he wants to punish anyone that touches his shield. So yeah, he's kind of weak in all the ranges, except he's pretty okay at mid-range. Thanks to the armor of the up B. If he didn't have armor and up B, he'd probably be even lower than this. Alright, well. Unfortunately, I agree with everything you said about DK. Yeah, it's unfortunate. But he does have armor, though. Like, luckily you don't really have to worry about this when you're playing in battle arenas, because most people are either going to play in rushdown range or mid-range. Like, not many people really try to play the timer or, you know, even really camp that much. Like, the only people that really do camp, they're the people that, like, only know how to camp and don't really know how to deal with someone that's gotten in their face. So you usually don't really have to worry about that. And then even still, like in an arena, like let's say that you lose against one person the first go round, like someone will probably beat them before you get your second chance to fight them. So like you don't really have to worry about it too much. That's an interesting one, like consistency of running an arena. That'd be a pretty fun one, because like you only have to deal with like 7 players at once, up to 7 players at once, and you don't want to have like some characters that are like kind of inconsistent, like, you know, hero can do really well or really poorly. And you don't want to do like someone like ZSS, who like is pretty inconsistent. Even I would say like Ken is pretty inconsistent at that. You probably would want characters that have like a really strong plan A and a pretty good plan B. Like characters with gimpable recoveries, like Wolf is not the character you want to try to run an arena with. I'm giving away the content before it's time for it, but that could be a tier list that we do in the future, trying to get 100 wins in a battle arena randomly. Other ones we could do, we could talk about like, there's all sorts of things. You can give suggestions in the Discord, and then future tier lists can be out. I'm gonna not do a tier list every Tuesday, but I think I will only do tier lists on Tuesdays. I think that that's kind of a fun mix of having this hashtag tier list Tuesday go on. It'll probably be a while before I do another one, but I think that this is pretty good content, and hopefully everyone agreed and enjoyed today. If you did, be sure to leave a like, and if you want to see more from me, be sure to subscribe. I will see you guys next time. Thanks for watching. Tomorrow we'll be back with Bravely Default 2. Have a good night, everyone.